Let me just make sure I got this right. You saw the title of the video and you still decided to click it? Welcome back to another video. Prepare yourself to go down a very dark rabbit hole. Your mental state is not prepared for this.
So I guess I will no longer be sleeping tonight because I just got stuck in this comment section. The original video is about a creepy voicemail that this person got so naturally. Others started sharing their stories in the comments, and let me just read you a few of these. Now, this first one is a little long, but just bear with me. When I was in like 8th grade, my teacher got a call on the classroom phone, like one the school office uses to contact teachers. She had it on speaker so the whole class could hear. She answered and said hello, but no one responded. She kept asking hello for a few seconds, and then suddenly there was this blood-curdling scream through the speaker. It sounded almost robotic, like it wasn't fully human. Then the call abruptly hung up. The entire class went silent. We were all completely freaked out. My teacher tried calling back, but nothing happened. After a minute, she kind of brushed it off and continued teaching, even though everyone was still on edge. A few minutes later, the phone rang again. She answered, still on speaker. This time, all we could hear were footsteps on gravel. In the background, there was a man laughing, just laughing. Then the call hung up again. At that point, my teacher immediately put the classroom on lockdown. We sat there waiting, expecting something to happen, but after a while, the calls just stopped. She eventually called the office and asked who had been calling the classroom phone, and they said nobody called us. On my 18th birthday, I got a voicemail from a blocked number. No ring, just a random voicemail. It had a lot of static, and it was a man's voice that sounded distressed and said, "In 12 years, don't follow the yellow truck." There was more, but was too much static to hear. My 30th birthday is next month, marking the 12th year since then. I've tried to find the voicemail, but it's gone, like it never existed. When I was about 13, I kept getting calls from an unknown number over and over again at like 1 in the morning. It got to a point where I just turned my phone off. When I woke up the next morning, I had 2 voicemails. One sounded like a room full of little kids talking loudly. A school cafeteria is as close as I can come to describe it. The second was the same, but a noticeably clearer voice, also a little kid voice, said, "When are you coming back home?" Not too long ago, my uncle got a call asking for me, which was weird because we don't even talk and he doesn't have my number. When he asked who it was, the guy said, "Are you gonna give me her number or not?" and hung up. When my uncle called back, the man just sat there breathing heavy, then said, "So, do you have her number?" and hung up. After that, 2 black Cadillacs with tinted windows started sitting outside my job. I work until midnight. When I'd leave, one would drive off and another would follow me farther toward my house each day. One night I pulled over in a dark spot with my lights off to let them pass, but they stopped and looked around. After that, it stopped. One time, my grandma got a voicemail, and it was just a woman crying and saying her name. She didn't know the voice, and when we called it back, it said the number didn't exist.
Creepy true Reddit stories that keep me up at night, part 8. My great-grandpa told me this one. One time, when he was younger, he went to go visit some old friends and their daughter. He arrives on horse. He was a rancher in Texas. The little girl walks up to him and says, "Hi, Paul, I'll take your horse. Dinner is ready. You can go in and sit down." So he walks inside and sits at the table. The parents walk up to him and say, "Hi, who let you in?" He says, "Your daughter took my horse. She said I could come in." They look horrified. She's been dead for 6 months. Follow for more creepy true Reddit stories.
Okay, you guys saw what happened at the Paris Fashion Week with all the literally demonic looking Halloween style themed, I don't know what they were doing. This is Oprah Winfrey, who went to the Paris Fashion Week, and Twitter is going wild right now asking, what is her secret? Because this was her almost 40 years ago. And do you know how old she is right now? Notice too, I mean, that's a pretty bold pose to make for the picture on CNBC. All you gotta do is trace the boop, 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 666. But here's the crazy part. Oprah Winfrey is 72 years old. This is a video of her, a clip from her about 30 years ago. And this is her now. So what's going on? And how do you get that famous in the entertainment industry, by the way? I'm just wondering. Now, you could do what Oprah's doing to anti-age, though I wouldn't recommend it. Or you could take natural superfoods. And right now, Chalk is giving away free $100 bags of the organic heirloom cacao from Bolivia, which is super detoxing and delicious. And if you combine that with the hot water purified Shilajit, that has anti-aging compounds in it. It's called C60, carbon 60. You're getting some of the most potent superfoods in the natural world. Comment free below and check your DMs for details.
Why does she look younger than she was before? These celebrities are going either through extreme plastic surgery or they know some dark magic that we do not know.
Let's talk about the disturbing case of Floran, aka the dog killer. So this whole thing happened in Mexico. So there was a dog named Manny, and Manny was a 16-year-old deaf and blind dog. But one day the dog went missing. And of course the owners panicked. Who wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? So they started looking for the dog, but like there was nothing, no trace of that dog, nowhere to be seen. Until they look at the cameras. And what these cameras found was very creepy. You can clearly see Manny the dog being taken away. By who, you might be wondering? By Floran, aka the dog killer. But like you guys are wondering, what happened to the dog then? What happened? What happened? The dog was later found unalived and buried near her house. So the owners of the dog decided to take her to court. And let's just say in court she has confessed on not only ending this dog's life, but 500 other dogs.
Whoa.
But the crazy part doesn't even end there. Because like the judge decided to not sentence her and she just became a free woman. She literally ended 500 dogs and no punishment. Yeah, that gotta be rigged. And this is a video clip of her leaving the court case.
Eres una maldita perra. Eres una maldita y no nada más fue Moni. Que todos sepan que no nada más fue Moni. Fueron 500 animales.
I'm not gonna lie, I will be mad too, bro, if that was my dog. Guys, we need justice for these dogs, bro. This woman gotta go.
This made me very mad. Not disturbed, but angry. I'm angry at the fact that we are letting this human being, this demonic entity, roam the streets that you and I both walk on, knowing what this thing, not human, not person, this thing did. It unalived 500 innocent animals and it didn't even get a penalty. Barely won. This is unacceptable.
Yeah, so this is absolutely terrifying. So this photo was uploaded of a 100-year-old renovated house. It's located outside of the original Woodstock location in New York State. One of the contractors were sitting on the porch and somebody snapped a photo. And then they realized after the photo was developed, because this was in like 2006, that there's something else in this photo. What looks like a woman with some sort of hat on and a extremely large mouth is seen in the photo. Now, people try to play this off as double exposure, but what on earth is going on with her mouth? It looks like her jaw is just gone and it's just teeth. Now, it is a very common thing in the paranormal community where you know that if you renovate an old house, you could stir up some paranormal activity. And I think that's exactly what happened here, but it makes you wonder what happened with this. I've seen a lot of ghost photos and videos, and it is a reoccurring thing to see a spirit that looks like they did when they passed, if that makes sense. But what do you guys think? You think this is double exposure, or do you think this is a spirit? Let me know.
A, dolphins can make like little smoke rings that are made of water. And B, what do you mean that this man was underground for 3 days straight with no oxygen tank, taken against his will by 3 dolphins to build an underground city? So long story short, this Florida man was swimming in the ocean. 3 dolphins approached him. They took him really far out where he couldn't see anyone else. And then 40 feet under the water, he was there for 3 days. He was basically building an underground city for them. He was communicating with them with like they were clicking to him, and then that's how he knew what they were saying. And then when he came up to the sand, he started making a blueprint of everything 40 feet under. And he's not even done yet. They told him that they're going to take him back for phase 2. But for phase 1, these 3 days, they were very satisfied with the work he did. We don't know how he was breathing, but I'm assuming that, you know, dolphins can make like air pockets, like air bubbles. Maybe a dolphin was near him and he was breathing that way. But when he went to the hospital, there was not really any collapsed lung damage, but he was 40 feet under the water and everything overall was okay. Like he had some stuff in his lungs, but nothing that was like too concerning. He was just dehydrated. But I'm like, what do the dolphins need? Why do they need Atlantis in the water in Florida? Also, it is illegal. It is illegal to like interact with dolphins because a lot of people are saying that they you can either get salmonella, you can get other diseases, and also they hold ancient secrets. So this man speaks dolphin. That's what I'm getting from this.
This is the scariest PSA aired on live television.
Night is the most dangerous time for pedestrians along streets and highways. To be on the safe side, walk facing traffic.
It was supposed to be a simple safety message aired by the patrol officers. Some harmless, routine advice aired on NBC7 San Diego in late 1986. But what made it so terrifying wasn't the warning that they were giving, but the person who was giving the warning. Just days before the PSA aired, a 20-year-old college student named Clara Knott had gone missing. Her car was found abandoned by the shoulder of a tall bridge. Below, the police would discover her body. Residents were terrified. Many people assumed that she had stopped her car from help and ran straight into the hands of a predator. The segment had a police officer who was talking about if you are stranded and you get into somebody's car, you are completely at their mercy, and it can be very dangerous.
Being a female, you could be robbed if you're a male, all the way to where you could be killed. Once you get in that other person's car, you're at their mercy.
At the time, nobody knew the chilling truth, that this person who was making this announcement was the person who killed her.
If you do decide to walk, the CHP says you never know who you may meet along the road.
Anything could happen, all the way to where you could be killed. Once you get in that other person's car, you're at their mercy.
If strangers should offer assistance, tell them to call police or the CHP.
Just stay in the vehicle, lock all the doors, turn on the emergency flashers, and wait for help to...
The patrol officer's name was Craig Allen Pay, and only 2 weeks after doing this announcement video, he was actually arrested for Clara's murder. DNA and evidence later had them discover that what he did is he strangled her, he put a rope around her neck, and then he threw her off the bridge. And what's even more disturbing about this is multiple women came forward and they were claiming that they had been stopped by him on the same stretch of the highway, and that he questioned them for hours, almost like he was practicing. He was asking them very personal questions, very sexual questions. So looking back and watching this PSA today is so haunting because every tip he gave, every warning about the strangers, the advice to stay in your car, it was all proving that sometimes the people who are warning you about the danger are the people who are really causing it. Also, hi, I'm Grace. Can I be your heart?
A new Dead Sea Scroll was just discovered in this cavern cave in the high mountains of Kentucky, and it's putting the historical experts into a tizzy because they've never known anyone in ancient times like that spoke Aramaic to be in the United States or in the lands roundabouts here. Well, a shepherd was up in the high mountains of Kentucky last week. He stumbled upon that cavern cave and he found the scroll in there. It was in a clay pot, but it was all disintegrates, and so it was in pieces. Well, the scientists have been able to compile it together. They hired a guy named Timothy Hansen, who's the best puzzle putter together in the world. He can do a 7,000 piece puzzle in under 15 minutes. And so he was able to get it all together. And then they used LiDAR AI technology to shoot photon protein fiber beams to pull out the Aramaic text and what it prophesies of, and it comes from the hand of Isaiah is what it says. It's more writings of Isaiah. It is going to blow your mind because what it says is going to happen is supposed to happen this year, and I'll put that in part 2, but I want to know what you think about it.
Apparently, Target's surveillance system is so incredibly advanced that they have their own forensic crime labs, which means if you've ever stolen anything from Target and think you got away with it, chances are that they know. But instead of stopping you, they'll watch you until you steal over the felony amount in your state, which is exactly what happened to this guy, who stole over $10,000 worth of trading cards using taco seasoning packets. He would go through self-checkout, and for every box of cards, he would scan a 99-cent taco packet instead. But what's crazy is he resold the cards for almost $40,000 on eBay, which means he could have just paid for them and still made a profit, and not be facing almost 90 years in prison. That's right, 90 years. That's insane. I guess that's the cost of being a seasoned criminal.
Did you guys hear it's raining in Iran right now? But the crazy part is it's not raining water. You see, yesterday, oil depots and oil processing facilities were struck, and so they caught fire. And now this is this morning in Tehran, which has 10 million people in it. And it's raining like black, oily, I guess not all of the oil combusted because it's in the sky and falling all over the city. Now, before you ask, like, whose side are we on here? My thing is, there are innocents in these cities that have nothing to do with what's going on geopolitically. Anyway, many people are worried that this is going to turn into a type of certain, like a conflict on a grander scale. I hope it all completely simmers down and we get back to the basics, which is maybe ensuring a clean air, food, and water supply for the entire world, and also get rid of some of the corruption that's going on, if not all of it, please, now. Now, we're going to be discussing a lot more about this and what the true angle is on my Rumble live stream channel, which is free to download, free to watch, and free speech. If you want to tune in, comment the word Rumble below and check your DM.
6 injured taken to hospital after incident at SeaWorld Orlando. is the first thing I read this morning, and my stomach instantly dropped. Let's talk about it. There was a brief delay lasting 7 minutes on a roller coaster where riders were stuck and they felt uneasy after being unloaded from the train. Riders were taken to the hospital out of abundance of caution. The speculation is that it was on Mansa on that final brake run. Riders were stuck in that flying position for about 7 minutes, which can be uncomfortable. Thankfully, everyone is okay. Roller coasters are still safe.
Clearly, I'm not the only one who thinks a children's book called Secret Pizza Party
weird.
Is a little sus. Now, admittedly, this will be the biggest stretch of all the things I'm going to show you, but right here on the cover, the author and illustrator's names are written out, and the first letter is a different color, which I thought was kind of weird. So I was like, what does ARDS mean? And ARDS is acute respiratory distress syndrome, and that is something that you can certainly get from being poisoned with cyanide. This basically leads to pneumonia and high risk of fatality. Second thing, look at this title. The Y of Pizza Party, that looks like a symbol to me. So I looked into some satanic symbols, and sure enough, it definitely looks like some satanic symbols. But that's not all. It also looks like these two T's right here are the same as the Tesla logo. And as I was looking into the Tesla logo, I realized that they've got this weird Tesla T coming out of a tire. It looks like a slice of pizza. Doesn't it? Now this one's crazy, you guys. Not only does this chick right here have some red heels on, which is occult symbolism, for show.
How?
But also, is that Lil Baron Trump right there? Is that you, Lil Baron Trump?
That is literally Trump.
Hot diggity dog.
There's too many coincidences here.
Oh, but it gets a little crazier because Jeffrey Epstein's brother's name is Mark. If you were one of these little kids running around Jeffrey Epstein's place, one of Jeffrey Epstein's kids, he'd probably refer to his brother as Uncle Mark. Now, yet again, this is a stretch, but if you look at the storefronts right next to the pizza place, there's a beard shop and a used mitten store. And all I thought of when I saw the used mitten store was Tom Hanks and his Isaac Cappy glove posts. He also posts about kids' shoes, kids' socks. So weird. Yeah, you got that yummy yum, that yummy yum. And is it just me? Or do the wanted posters for little Mr. Raccoon here also look like missing posters? As in, like, missing and exploited children. And this little raccoon seems to have a serious fear of brooms. And I would too, because I wouldn't want to get sodomized by a broom either. And I was starting to think that I was the only person in the world who kept a diary about every single slice of pizza I ever put in my mouth. What? You know, my little pizza black book. And I have so much more, so tune in for part 2.
Oh boy, Iran have officially announced their new leader, and things are about to get interesting. Not only because the US strikes killed his father, the former supreme leader, but also his wife, his mother, and his sister. The revenge arc is about to go crazy. But on top of that, this guy is mysterious as hell. Hardly anyone knows much about him. In fact, reports state that many Iranians themselves don't even know what he sounds like. His name is Mujtaba Khamenei. He's the second oldest son of Iran's former leader. He's 56 years old. He avoids the public, keeps a low profile. He's never done a public speech or interview. He was in the military during the Iraq-Iran war, and when he was sworn in, the Defense Council, along with other politicians, issued a statement reading, "We will obey the commander-in-chief until the last drop of our blood." Not only have Israel already tried to assassinate him before, but they have also vowed to target any successor of his father. And Trump said last week that this appointment would be unacceptable. So the big question is, how long does Iran's new leader last? And will he escalate or de-escalate? Nepal needs to be studied. After overthrowing their government and giving rise to Gen Z protests around the world, they're now about to elect a rapper as their new leader. Balendra Shah, who's commonly just called Balan in Nepal, is a former rapper/engineer who unexpectedly became a political phenomenon. Despite being a structural engineer by training, around 2012 he became known in the Nepali hip-hop scene for his often politically critical rap. 10 years later, later, in 2022, he ran for mayor of Kathmandu as an independent, not backed by any major party. And his win shocked the entire country. He beat candidates from 2 major parties by a large margin, and he's about to do it again. But this time not as a mayor of a city, but rather the leader of an entire country in a manner that has never been seen before. His party has reportedly secured over 120 seats in parliament, which is unprecedented. But for a country that's population is very young, the median age is about 25, they didn't just want a new leader. They wanted an entirely new kind of leader. And they certainly got it. But the question is, what do you guys think? Did Nepal make a good decision?
Jeffrey Epstein's titty cake. That's what you're looking at in the photograph that I found in the Epstein files, and I don't know what to make of this. So this is an image found in the Epstein files. You can see the EFTN number bottom left. And it appears to depict a woman serving Jeffrey Epstein a birthday cake, or just a cake in general, shaped like a pair of breasts. And it's very detailed. Now, as you can see here, they are actually serving Epstein the cake. There is a woman on the right that is massaging Epstein's feet. The woman is handing him the cake. And then in the background, I'm not going to zoom in, there are a number of photos. And in one of the photos, there appears to be a child who is doing a bend move, I guess a gymnastics move. I don't know what to call that, a handstand. Sorry, I'm not a gymnast. And yeah, there are so many things that you have to ask when you look at this photo, right? Like, why is Epstein being served a cake in the shape of human breasts? Why is this a normal thing? Who is taking the photograph? There are 2 women. We don't know if they're perpetrators, victims, survivors. We don't know who they are. And then there's a third person behind the camera. Who is Epstein on the phone with at the time? Why are they surprising him while he's on the phone? Was he holding the phone up as a part of this photo shoot thing? And if you look on the desk, there's actually a piece of paper that appears to be from one of Epstein's custom notepads. Now, I tried to flip it around and blow it up and take a look at what this notepad said, but I couldn't make out any of these words. If you can, please let me know in the comment section. A couple things though. I find it hard to believe that anybody in Epstein's orbit wouldn't have known that he was up to no good. I mean, he was constantly surrounded by sexual stuff. Look at the videos that I've done on the artwork that was at Epstein's homes. There are sexual statues, suggestive photos, nude portraits, nude paintings everywhere, all over the walls of all of Epstein's properties. And in the basement of Zorro Ranch, allegedly, according to reporting, there was an underground strip club, a shower big enough to fit 8 to 10 people, and so much more. And you've even got Epstein being served a cake in the shape of naked female breasts. So, clearly, this guy had sex on his mind all the time. Or, I guess, business on his mind because he was trafficking all of these young girls and children. But something else disturbing is the fact that he's wearing U.S. Army pants. Now, Epstein was never enlisted in the military. And I've never been able to find a connection between Epstein and the military. And I get it. People have military pants and shirts and whatnot. They support those who they love who are in the armed forces. But this is just another direct visual connection between Jeffrey Epstein and a governmental body. He has been pictured in the past with IDF shirts and stuff, U.S. Army pants, and so much more. And to me, this isn't just a random pair of pants that he owns. But I don't know. What do you guys make of this? What do you make of this cake? Let me know.
Quick pause. Let's give yourself a break for now. I don't know how your mental state is allowing you to keep watching these videos, but I'm going to give you a warning now. The other half is worse. But before we resume, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe.
He inappropriately touched his student and still wasn't fired. Aaron Craig Gleason was a Bible teacher and the lead teacher for the Bible department at Rocky Bayou Christian School. During Bible class, a 12-year-old girl approached Aaron's desk to ask about an assignment. This is when Aaron gave the 12-year-old girl a side hug and then slid his hand all the way down her buttocks. He kept his hand there and rubbed his thumb up and down her buttocks while other students were watching. Apparently in the past, Aaron had told this girl that she looked cute with her butterfly hair clip in, and then asked her, "Or are you just trying to be deceptive?" Then he also asked her if she was going to cuddle with her boyfriend at night. After the allegations came out and during the investigation, the school did not fire Aaron. Instead, they put him on paid leave. Aaron was not sent to prison. Aaron just has to follow a few court-mandated conditions for 2 years, and then all the charges will be dropped. Obviously, Aaron no longer works at the school, and I hope the school found a much more loving replacement for Aaron. But what do you guys think about this?
This might be the dumbest rabbit hole I've ever gone down, but What is going on here with the eyebrows? Now, some are saying it's AI, but I don't know. It's looking like he's going pretty full beans with these guys. And let's just be clear, I'm not trying to make fun of him because evidently thick eyebrows are considered positive and very attractive in Jewish culture. Quote, while historical anti-Semitic propaganda often caricaturized Jewish features, including eyebrows, in a negative light, modern standards have embraced these features. Thick eyebrows are now widely fashionable, and many within and outside the Jewish community use cosmetics to achieve a thicker look. So maybe an eyebrow transplant? I don't know. In other news, the United States military blew up a girls' school in Iran, killing hundreds of school children, which Ben is evidently supportive of.
Everything that's come out about the man who was kidnapped while on vacation with his girlfriend in Bali. Igor Komarov's father allegedly scammed a rich Ukrainian crime family out of $10 million. Not only are they able to then figure out that this man's son is in Bali on vacation, but they are then able to hunt him down and kidnap him. Authorities have now learned they were able to locate and kidnap this man because his girlfriend, who's an Instagram model with over 200,000 followers, had been taking pictures and videos of their trip and posting them in real time, not only showing what they were doing and who was with them, but sharing exactly where they were at. It was shortly after one of her posts that he was kidnapped. Days after this kidnapping, a video is released. And in that video is very obviously Igor, who has been beaten so bad he has 2 black eyes. And at one point, he lifts up his arm to show that he is missing a hand. Missing a hand. Keep in mind, at the time of his kidnapping, he had both of his hands. During this video that he begs his parents to pay the $10 million ransom. That's right, the same amount of money that his father allegedly stole from that Ukrainian crime family. A few days go by and the ransom doesn't get paid, and then a jogger is jogging across Bali and notices what appears to be a body part floating in the water. Authorities now have identified the various pieces to be Igor Komarov, thanks to tattoos and markings on his body. Safe to say, it is never a good idea to share real-time pictures and videos of your exact location, even if you aren't the son to a crime boss.
I was browsing through more of the files today, and I discovered an entirely new set of photos that I hadn't seen before, featuring a young girl who I have never seen identified. So the photo set starts off, in my opinion, looking at the files with this picture, which appears to be a plane landing somewhere that's incredibly green. I believe obviously this is in America. Then we get to this photo series, which features this little girl in a dress, and she seems to be somewhere with her mother. Now, I have no idea where this is. I don't know who this is. I do not know who's taking these pictures, and I don't know why they're in the files. However, this is just speculation. This shadow to me, let me point it out right here. This appears, in my opinion, to be Ghislaine Maxwell. That's just what I'm getting from the shadow, but that's just my interpretation too.
How would you even tell us who?
I believe that this might be a young child as well, standing next to the little girl. It seems like maybe her older brother with the Stanford shirt on. But I don't know. These appear to be photographs of some sort of a public event in a park. But they continue. As you can see, here are more images of the young child. Here she is by a railing. This to me appears to be in New York City. She's playing by the railing, and I think that's Epstein top left, correct? I mean, it's got to be. And also, he's got the Little St. Jeff's pants on, custom merch for his own property. I've always thought that was really strange. Interesting, too, that it's not called Little St. James here. He actually calls it Little St. Jeff's on his pants. Just weird. Imagine owning a property and having custom merch printed for your own property that you actually wear out in public. It's so strange. And yeah, this appears to be in the mother's hand. It's some sort of a club on Paradise Island. I wasn't able to do any research into this location before recording this. So if you guys know what this would lead to or where this is, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, there are just so many children in the Epstein files, so many innocent kids. And only God knows what happened to these kids. For all I know, these kids could have had a totally normal childhood and nothing strange or nefarious ever happened to them. Epstein was always surrounded by kids. I mean, look at the pictures from his mansions and his houses and on the island. He had framed photographs of children all over the place, and sometimes children in compromising positions. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, I and a lot of other people think Epstein was trafficking in the younger variety of children. But until the DOJ or FBI actually gets off their asses and investigates, we won't have those solid, concrete answers. And even if they do investigate, I have a feeling that we're never going to get the truth.
In the film Ready or Not, the Ladomas play a ritual game every time someone marries into the family. The sequel's about to come out, and I created a full timeline of the family members and the game. The 1800s, the origin of this ritual. Victor Ladomas makes a deal with LaBelle, which is this supernatural figure, after he solved a puzzle box. The agreement is that every new family member must play a game on their wedding night, and the game is determined by the puzzle box, by LaBelle. If the family refuses to play along, they will lose their wealth and possibly their lives. Here are the known games played by the family members. In 1989, so 30 years before the first movie, this man named Charles plays the game, who is Aunt Helen's spouse. Very unfortunately, he plays hide and seek, and the family hunts him and kills him in the mansion. Young Daniel and Alex witness this aftermath. Then we have an unknown year before the film. We have Charity, Daniel's wife, and she draws chess. And that's a really easy one. There's no violence. She easily wins. Everybody's happy. Another undisclosed year before the film, we have Fitch Bradley, Emily's husband. He draws Old Maid. This is also a safe game. No sacrifice required. Those are all the games we know about before present day, movie 1, where Grace is marrying Alex and draws hide and seek. Also, hi, I'm Grace. Can I be your horror girly? And this is Casper.
So, breaking news. A woman has been arrested for firing shots at Rihanna's home just yesterday. Let's get into it. So, TMZ came out with an article saying that Rihanna's home was being fired at yesterday. They say, law enforcement sources tell us the suspect, described as a female around 30 years old, drove up near the Beverly Hills property and discharged several shots at the direction of the home. It's unclear what prompted this incident. Our law enforcement sources tell us that the singer was at home at the time of the shooting, but she is okay. Thank God. It's unclear whether A$AP Rocky and their children Rizza, Raya, and Rocky were at the home at that time. I really hope not. No child or parent or even person should ever endure something like this. Cops quickly rushed to the scene and quickly took the woman into custody without further incident. And apparently it was 10 rounds of gunfire. What the f? And the shots came from a vehicle across the street from the property gate. It was a white Tesla, which fled south of Coldwater Canyon Drive. It's a continuing story. No one knows what prompted the woman to do this. But I'm so happy that Rihanna and A$AP and their children are okay, because no one deserves to have this happen to them.
I hate being lied to. It is now confirmed that it was a U.S. Tomahawk missile that hit that girl's primary school and killed all of those children, which is in direct contrast to what President Trump said publicly.
Did the United States bomb a girls' elementary school in southern Iran on the first day of the war and kill 175 people?
Based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran.
The U.S. is the only participant in the war that is known to have Tomahawk missiles. Israel is not known to have Tomahawk missiles. The satellite imagery shows 2 structures that were hit. It was actually a double tap missile strike. One of them was a clinic.
Guys, there's another disturbing allegation no one's talking about from the brand new Epstein files about the 13-year-old that accused Trump of sexual assault. So after the abuse by Epstein and Trump when she bit him as he forced her to perform oral sex on him, she says she and her mom received years of death threats, and Epstein even framed her mom and sent her to federal prison. They started as calls with no ID that left voicemails that primarily included only noises, and then during one call, a man said, "Fuck you, you better keep your mouth closed," and then hung up. Also says her mother fielded threat calls as well, made by individuals telling her to leave the island. Even called her mom's work pretending to be a doctor's office, and when the mom called the doctor's office back, they said they did not call to check in on her. And this is haunting. The girl told the FBI she believed the incident to be related to Epstein and or his associates, and stated under her breath that if it was not Epstein, maybe it was the other one. And when asked the identity of the other one, she said Trump. Plus, during this time, her mom had 4 to 5 close calls where she was almost run off the road, including one where an SUV actually hit their car at night and then drove away. But this is where things get really crazy. So she recalled her mother spent approximately 2 years in federal prison in Columbia, South Carolina, around the time she was 17 or 18 years old. Her mother's sentence was related to an embezzlement conviction connected to being blackmailed by Jeffrey Epstein and Jim Atkins over explicit photographs of her, the girl, the victim. That is so disturbing. And then when the daughter called Atkins, who's an Epstein associate at the university where he worked, to ask why he fixed her mother's real estate books only to later turn her mother into the police, Atkins responded by stating words to the effect that he did not give a shit. If you end up in the gutter, don't ever contact me again. Your mother knows what will happen. I mean, it's just heartbreaking that this victim has received these threats basically her entire life. This FBI interview was in 2019, and she had said at the time, during the past 4 years, the threats increased a little. And that was decades after the original incident. And she says the threats included words to the effect of, "We know where you're at, you need to keep your mouth shut." And the people knew her mother was at a specific assisted living facility at this point, and then even called the mother and said rude comments about her mom's age and health. It's just hard to grasp how sinister these allegations are, and if they're true, that means Epstein or Trump or his associates basically ruined 2 lives to cover up the crimes they committed. The newsgirls are still combing all of the new files to make sure we bring you all of the important details, so follow to stay in the loop.
Disturbing new nationwide warning was just issued for over 650,000 gallons of bottled water for possible contamination with filth. So far right now, there are only 2 states that are currently impacted by this recall, and it could potentially grow bigger, so this is everything you need to know. And due to a recent food safety inspection, the company of Valley Springs Artisan Gold failed, and they recalled over 650,000 gallons of these bottled waters due to insanitary conditions at their facilities. The affected states that these products were shipped to is Illinois as well as Wisconsin, but the list may grow. I find it really interesting that they do not define what insanitary conditions mean. All they say is that it's contaminated with filth, whether that's from animals or rodents or even dirt, anything that can be found in these bottles. Either way, the inspection was rendered as a possible injury to health if you consume these products. Either way, you want to make sure to grab a screenshot here because these are the list of specific products that are being recalled as well as the UPC codes with them. This was ruled a Class 2 recall, which means that the water may cause temporary or medically reversible adverse health consequences. I keep you guys updated about everything that happens in the news, so make sure to add me and come back tomorrow.
You are not ready for this true crime documentary that I'm going to tell you about, because when I tell you that I can't even give you enough trigger warnings for what I just watched, please watch at your own risk. Let's get into it. The documentary is called Dollmaker, and I live in the United States, and I'm able to watch this on Tubi, but look this up and see where it's available to you in your area. It is about this man right here named Anatoly Moskvin. Anatoly was incredibly smart. He was a Russian linguist who spoke about 13 languages. He was a journalist and had work published. His scope of work was a little bit different. He wrote about cemeteries and burial rituals, but nobody really thought anything of it till he was arrested in 2011 when they discovered that he had dug up 26 girls and mummified their bodies and kept them in his home. This case is so wild because it wasn't violent in nature because he didn't commit the crimes. He just did incredibly wild things after those crimes were committed. Truly one of the craziest things I have ever seen. Tune in and let me know what you think.
This man admitted to kidnapping and murdering people in the Amazon product review section. I am shocked that more people do not talk about this documentary, let alone this case. This documentary covers the case of sex offender and serial killer Todd Kohlhepp. In 2017, Todd was convicted of murdering 7 people, and the signs were there. If you love documentaries, hit follow because I post daily and you'll never have to search for something to watch. At the age of 15, Todd had kidnapped his 14-year-old neighbor by gunpoint and then raped her. He then served 15 years in prison and they let him go. After he was released from prison, a mass murder occurred at a motorcycle shop where 4 people who worked there were shot. And then couples just started going missing. This documentary gets into the whole thing, and the victims' family members are interviewed in this documentary. When you see the reviews that he was leaving on the things he was buying off Amazon to help him with these kidnaps and murders, you're gonna be like, what the hell? Like, honestly, imagine you're going to buy like duct tape off Amazon or like, I don't know, a tool, and you look at the reviews and you just see, well, it was really good for killing somebody. What? This is really messed up. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments.
It all started when Annalisa had a seizure, but 67 exorcisms later, it ended horribly. You see, in the 70s in Germany, there was a 16-year-old girl who had a massive seizure, and it terrified her parents. They took her to the town doctor, and she was diagnosed with epilepsy. But they were a deeply rooted religious family, and when the girl's symptoms persisted and got worse, they did the only thing that they thought they could, and turned to the church. Witnesses reported that Annalisa would destroy religious objects, that she couldn't enter into a church. And Annalisa complained that she was hearing demonic voices and that she was being urged to do terrible things. Her town bishop approved to have an exorcist sent in, and 2 priests were sent in. Over the course of the following 10 months, terrifying things occurred. A lot of them were recorded, and you can listen to the audio where Annalisa, as she's being exorcised, speaks in different voices, 6 to be exact, claiming that she's possessed by 6 different demonic entities. Now, after 10 months, she succumbs to severe dehydration and malnutrition and dies. But the case doesn't end there. You see, it shows shook Germany so severely and drew in so much public attention that it went to court. And the two priests and the parents were actually charged. Now, following more litigation, the charges were suspended, and not a single soul spent any time in prison for the death of Annalise Michel. The movie The Exorcism of Emily Rose was actually made based on this true story. And even now, people debate as to what exactly happened. Was this a case of severe psychosis brought on by religious indoctrination? Was this a demonic possession? Regardless of where you stand on the debate, one thing can be sure: the true case of Annalise Michel is greatly disturbing.
Dad, who shared a video showing a cyclist knocking his 5-year-old daughter to the ground, has finally won the legal battle. The entire incident started Christmas Day of 2020 when this family of 4 went for a walk. Father started recording his family when a cyclist rode by. This cyclist didn't slow down so they could get out of the way. He shoved his 5-year-old daughter to the ground, later claiming it was an accident, stating he was simply trying to balance himself. Except that this dad caught it all on camera. It is very clear as this cyclist comes up, intentionally sticks out his knee to knock the 5-year-old little girl in the back, hard enough that she not only stumbles, but falls to the ground. Father later shared this video online and it went viral. The cyclist then sued him for defamation. Except sharing a video of someone doing or saying something horrible is not defamation. Being caught being a bad person does not qualify as defamation when you are in fact being a bad person. March of 2026, the court ruled this is not in fact a case of defamation. Cyclist, whose name has now been released, been forced to pay court costs for a lawsuit that was completely unfounded.
I just know that this specific clip is going to get a lot of you guys thinking, whose fault really is it? Some say the parents, some say the biker. My personal opinion, I think it's mainly, not only, mainly the parents. Reason being, the mother saw the biker. Instead of doing anything about the biker approaching them, she just watches and lets it happen. She could have easily grabbed the child and pulled her aside. She knows he's coming and lets her be. The kid gets knocked down and they just stay there recording like nothing. What's the biker gonna do? Halt and just yell or something? No, the kid is a child. The parents are supposed to be responsible for the kid. But yes, the biker should have at least gone off the road and at least tripped over something just to prevent hitting the kid. I don't know. This is a weird topic. Let me know what your thoughts are.
There is a now deleted hidden message on a website that confirms that we are getting another Stranger Things episode. I found this creator online. Her account is The Crown Julia. So she made a video saying you need to go to WSQKthesquawk.com and it no longer exists. So these are just photos of the website. And this is a real website. And the reason why we know it's real and not just like a fan site is because the domain was purchased on June 14th, 2025, before anything about the Squawk or Stranger Things had any sort of relation. So she said she had to click access gear. Then you can see up there, one of the things, it says bootleg tapes volume 3 status lost. Now, right under WSQK Gear Archive, it says recovered from storage, not for distribution yet, but it gets crazier. She actually hit inspect and opened up the source for the website, and this is what she found. There's another hidden note. It says WSQK 94.5 FM, The Squawk. A signal lost, a signal returned. Hawkins, Indiana. And obviously that's not here on the website. And then she keeps going, right? And look at this message. You're hearing this, so it's already too late. I'm gonna make some theory videos on why I really think we actually are getting more Stranger Things, but this is just even more proof to show you more episodes, or I think just one. I think there's gonna be like a special, are coming. You know I give you all the Stranger Things updates, so make sure you like this video and follow for more.
Because I'm now famous, everyone thinks that I'm an industry plant, so Captain Gunn of the Sayorsa has not selected me to go with him on his expedition beyond the ice wall to go discover a new land. So I do not get to go with that group in 2026. And they are using the Urbano Monte map from 1587 for their navigation. So think about that. They believe that this map is a true representation of the Earth. And honestly, from what I've heard from the video, I think it's also true. And they say that these lands out here, past where our lands are, like on the outside where we thought the ice wall was, apparently there is no ice wall actually. And they are planning on going out to these areas, and there is apparently nothing stopping us from going over there, except for the fact that parts of these continents might be sunken by now from the mud floods and the great floods that have happened in the past. So that is literally what they're doing, and I'm pretty sure the place that they're going is south of Mexico to a place called New Galicia.
The jester was never the fool. He was the only one that was allowed to tell the truth. On the surface, jesters look like nothing more than a foolish clown dancing around and making jokes, but there's a brilliance behind the act. In royal courts, the jester could say what everyone else was too afraid to. He could mock the king, expose corruption, tell the truth, and disguise it as entertainment. The mask of foolishness gives him freedom. People drop their guard around someone they think is harmless, and that's when the truth slips out. The world rewards jesters who take a chance, because while everyone else is performing and trying to play it safe, they're risking looking stupid to do and say what actually matters. Sometimes, pretending to be the fool is the smartest move you can make.
Scientists just discovered 2 different hidden mountains that are inside of the Earth that are over 100 times taller than Mount Everest, and nobody even knew that they were there. So this team of researchers basically just published a study that changes everything that we thought we knew about what is underneath our planet. 1,200 miles below the surface right now, right where the Earth's core meets the mantle, they found 2 massive structures. One of them is beneath Africa and the other is beneath the Pacific Ocean. They're saying that each one stands roughly 620 miles tall, and Mount Everest is actually only 5.5 miles tall, so that is over 100 times bigger. Now here's what makes this even crazier, because they're not made of rock like normal mountains. They found that they're giant regions of dense, superheated material that are so old that scientists believe they could be remnants from the actual formation of Earth. Some of the researchers think that these structures might be pieces of Theia, which is the ancient planet that slammed into Earth and created our moon. And they're not just sitting there, because they say that these structures are driving volcanic hotspots like Hawaii and Iceland from below, influencing how entire continents move. And this isn't new information, because they've been doing that for billions of years now, but they had no idea that they existed. The tallest mountains on Earth are not above us. They've been underneath our feet this entire time.
So kids are playing Five Nights at Jeffrey Epstein's at school, and teachers have no idea what to do. If you haven't heard, students have so many missing assignments, and it's all because of this diabolical game. The game is based off of Five Nights at Freddy's, but instead it's a Jeffrey Epstein version. I mean, it's so scary. People are literally jumping out of their seat in the middle of class. And just when you thought you only had to deal with Epstein, the developers thought it would be a good idea to add Trump and Diddy. This made the game so much harder, so now kids are literally breaking their school computer. At this point, this game is becoming so popular, I wouldn't be surprised if it got banned in all schools.
Dog, please tell me this shit is fake, bro. Did you guys see what Bill Clinton was doing with Stephen fucking Hawking? You know, like the guy that revolutionized cosmology with quantum mechanics? He has that guy in a fucking princess outfit. He's sitting in his disabled chair in a princess outfit with a crown on, and dollhouses in the background. Brother, we need to have a discussion with the Clintons, bro. I'm not suicidal.
Everyone is freaking out because McDonald's just came out with their new Arch Burger and not even the CEO could swallow it. If you haven't seen, this burger has a whole bunch of new ingredients, including their new Big Arch sauce. Rumors are going around saying this burger is insanely bad for you, especially after seeing how the CEO of McDonald's reacted. It's gotten so bad, people are mocking his reaction and acting as if the burger is literally a virus. Not to mention, the Big Arch Burger is 1,020 calories, which is 2 times more than a Big Mac. And what doesn't help the unhealthy allegations is McDonald's has been exposed many times for making fake beef. At this point, I'm starting to wonder if McDonald's is just on a mission to cut people's lifespan in half.
So let's think of this logically. If the CEOs of said companies aren't eating their own product, why is no one actually doing a proper investigation and looking deeper into this? Why are we eating it, following it like sheep? I know not everyone eats fast food, but for those who do, and now that we've seen the CEOs not even eat their own stuff, why is that? Why is no one asking these questions?
Some people think if your bathroom door slowly opens at night, it's just airflow. That's a mistake. If your bathroom door opens by itself after you clearly closed it and you're the only one awake in your house, do not get out of bed immediately. First, stay still. Do not sit up quickly. Movements tells the hallway you're awake. If the door stops halfway open and it stays there longer than 10 seconds, do not speak. Most people say hello. That confirms location. Second, listen carefully. If you hear the bathroom fan turn on but you know the switch is inside, do not approach the doorway. Fans create cover noise. Cover noise hides footsteps. Third, grab your phone, but do not use the flashlight. Open your camera instead and aim it towards the doorway without exposing your face. If the screen shows movement that you cannot see with your eyes, leave the room immediately. Through another exit if possible. If the door slowly closes again after you remain silent, do not assume it's over. That means it confirmed the room was occupied. Remain quiet until sunrise. If in the morning the bathroom light is on and the mirror is fogged, but no one showered, that means someone stayed inside long enough to warm the room. Because when the door opens slowly at night and no one pushed it, something is checking if you will come investigate.
The Duffer Brothers' reaction to Conformity Gate was really disrespectful to the fans. So obviously we now know that this isn't happening, which makes no sense in my brain because there were so many sides. Like, how did you mess up that many times? But like, because of this, it's not too late to grab everything all the fans have spotted and make an episode, right? So E! News asked them a couple days ago, they were like, okay, so based on all of this stuff you're seeing about Conformity would you ever take all of these theories and do something with it? Like, why not add a little more to the story? And Ross said, I guess never say never. And then they say, maybe in 20 years, if we're all broke and need some money, we've talked about maybe doing it. And then they said that this idea is their financial safety net. And obviously, I get they make so much money on this show, but like, so many people are genuinely passionate and interested in these characters and the entire story of Stranger Things and have been watching and tuning in for years now. So the fact that you don't care, that you left your fans dissatisfied, and that you would maybe potentially be open to adding things and satisfying your fans, but the reason you don't want to do it is because you don't really need the money. Like, ew! I don't know about you, but this makes me not want to support their future projects, to be so honest. Obviously, money plays into all of these decisions and all of this a lot, but it's just like, what a horrible response to say, knowing that you have so many fans that loved what you made, and just acknowledging that you maybe would have tried to give the characters justice, but like, you don't need the money right now. Ew! And they're already a little bummed that everyone hated the end of the show. Like, they're even saying in interviews, like, I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done these post-mortem interviews. I'm in a really bad place. I have the flu. So nobody's happy. And that's our ending of Stranger Things. It's so disappointing. Money's nice, but that's not the only reason why I'm here. So follow for...
People think Paris catacombs are only dangerous if you go down there alone. That's a mistake. Here's what people don't realize. If you're walking with a guided group on the ground and the guide voice suddenly stops echoing the way it should, don't assume it's just the tunnel shape changing. Most people do. They look up, they look around, they adjust their pace. That's how separation begins. The first sign something is wrong isn't getting lost. It's silently behaving differently. Rule 1. If you're walking through a narrow corridor lined with stacked bones and the person behind you stops shuffling their feet, don't turn around immediately. Spacing gets measured on the ground, because if you turn around and the space behind you looks deeper than it should, that gap didn't just appear. People who've experienced this said the same thing. They didn't hear breathing. They heard stone dust shifting, a faint scrape, like someone adjusting weight against a wall, but never matching the rhythm of the group. Here's where it changes. If you call out to the guy and the reply comes from ahead of you and behind you at the same time, don't correct it. Just keep walking, because sometimes the echo isn't echoing. Rule 2. If you pass an archway of skulls that feels familiar, like you've been there already, don't say it out loud. Groups fracture when someone says, did we pass this? And splitting on the ground is the point. One group near the southern tunnel section lost sight of a member for less than a minute. He rejoined them calmly, close clean, flashlight steady, no panic. He never asked why they kept moving. When they exited into the daylight, the guy counted head twice. They entered with 12, 13 walked out. No one could agree when the extra joined. The warning is simple. If you're walking through the catacomb and the tunnel feels longer than the map said, count your group quietly. If the number changes, don't be the one who...
Someone needs to please explain this to me, because I don't quite understand. If we can zoom in this close to the moon, if we can get this close to the moon from the Earth with the powerful cameras that we have, and we can just zoom right in on it, then why won't NASA zoom in on Australia? That way we can see this, and the whole debate about whether the Earth is a globe or it's flat would be over, right? Why don't they do that? Why does it look like every single composite of the globe Earth looks like CGI, looks like Photoshop? Why does NASA admit that it's Photoshop, that it is composites, even though we're going to Mars and all this stuff and sending rovers? Make it make sense. If they wanted this debate to end and prove to everyone that the Earth is a globe, this is all they would have to do. It's so simple. They have the technology, clearly. So why don't we do it? Why don't we do it? Someone explain it. Why don't they do that? Why don't they zoom in on the Earth from their locations that they're taking pictures of the Earth from? Doesn't make sense. It's all a lie. The globe is a lie. You're all being fucking duped. Wake.
Trump just had Messi at the White House, and the moment was unreal. Inter Miami are there celebrating their MLS Cup win, and Trump's pulling out all the stops. He's taking pictures side by side and a walk, and he even compared Messi to Pele. He said, I think you're better. Is soccer finally becoming a big deal in America? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
When we get to the top, there's so many people who are not human. What you're seeing right now with Trump is clones. That is not him. We've talked about this before, but some of the people around him, so say he's in an interview and then he kind of deflects and lets people answer questions for him. These are also the handlers of the clone. And some of these people are also not human.
Well, Biden's clone was exposed in the files.
I know.
He died in 2019.
Yeah, he's been gone a long time. Bill and Hillary, how Congress is pulling them in for the Epstein, they've been gone a long time too. So they are now interacting with clones of Hillary and Bill.
That makes sense because they barely do any public appearances anymore. They used to do a lot.
Yes, they've been gone for a long time, along with many other people.
Selena looks different, and so does Ariana. She went back to brown hair, but anyways, this photo of Selena Gomez is surfacing, as well as her new music video, and a lot of fans are saying she looks different, but aside from that, her brand, Rare Beauty, commented on this TikTok user's video. It was a heart emoji eye, and the TikTok user says, "Point of view making Justin Bieber mad with my Rare Beauty gloss." The fact that Rare Beauty commented on this with the heart eye emoji, it's messy. Because Selena now, obviously, she's married, but fans are mad because there's also another theory saying that every friend she makes, she steals their man. So people are making this image, and they're just saying she just looks different. I think she's just in a different era. Maybe her villain era? But anyways, Ariana Grande said, "It's good to see me, isn't it?" with brown hair. She literally looks the same as she did 10 years ago. And even with the wig when she was on SNL, she looked good with brown hair. Like, I'm ready for Ariana to come back in her Seven Rings era. I'm over the blonde. I'm over the blonde hair. I'm over the blonde eyebrows. I think this comment is just wild, alongside this cartoon photo.
This image of a girl's fridge that was filled with hundreds of hot dogs is going viral after it was taken by a guy on their first date. 624 to be exact. Yes, I counted. And there's a big debate on who's stranger, the hot dog girl or the guy who took the photo and posted it online. Comments speculated that maybe she had a party coming up, or they were on sale, or maybe she just really likes hot dogs. Who are you to judge? But as usual on the internet, the whole story is just made up. The original photo was posted over a year ago on a subreddit called Fridge Detective, where people post photos of the inside of their refrigerators and people tell you what it says about you. For example, someone shared a photo of their fridge filled with binders that was very well organized. This person says they have way too much time on their hands. But for the glizzy fridge, the guy who posted it said he was just giving the hot dogs for free and was giving them out to the community. Basically just posting it for fun. And just like that, the internet lies again.
They're adding facial recognition to meta glasses. They're adding facial recognition to meta glasses. They're going to use AI to scan people's faces and get information off of them. See, this is what happens when we let shit slide. Because I thought people were going to be more scared of the fact that these glasses were even a thing coming out. That's some dystopian bullshit you read about. Have we not read books? Have we... 24-hour surveillance. You're just working for the government at this point. What are we doing? You see, we could have made technology to take rapists and child pedophiles off the internet, but we're gonna scan people's faces. Ah. Am I missing something? What are we doing?
You know the economy is bad when the CEO of Wendy's and Burger King and McDonald's have to make videos of them eating the product. And I want to let these white guys know something. If you want me to pull up to your establishment, let's get affordable prices. I don't give a fuck about a millionaire's opinion on a fucking Baconator. I don't care what the Burger King CEO thinks about the burger. I don't care that you're wearing an apron. I care that you're charging me an arm and a leg and you drive a Porsche.
Why is it a trend to sneak onto Epstein Island? 5 YouTubers this week alone have attempted to sneak onto Epstein Island. 3 of them were successful. I don't know if we're just trying to start World War III, but this is definitely a good way to start it. Seriously though, someone is gonna get arrested or cooked.
So people are losing their minds over Korean ice soda pops because of how good it tastes. If you don't know, this dessert is extremely popular in places like Korea, but it was just introduced into stores like H Mart. The reason why they're so hard to get is because there's only 100 H Marts in the US. Not to mention, because it's blowing up on TikTok, it's almost impossible to see it on the shelves. And the reason ice soda pops are so addicting to eat is because the outer casing is just like a chewy bottle cap. This was purposely done so that you can keep on chewing almost like a fidget. All I know is if you end up getting one of these, you might as well buy a lottery ticket because of how lucky you are.
Did you guys see this new Halloween week that they did in Paris? It certainly looks like it'd be Halloween, right? This was Paris Fashion Week, which used to look like this, and now looks like this. What do you say to that? Do you see something strange is going on here? Half these guys look like zombies. What's going on?
Do you ever see a photo that just makes your stomach drop? This is a screenshot from the Karen Smith tapes. In 2004, an old camcorder was discovered in a thrift shop with the tapes still inside. When the video was played back, it was immediately handed over to the police and locked away as evidence. But it wasn't until 2015 when 2 frames of the video were leaked. This was the first frame released. It was from a 6-7 minute clip showing someone wiping down a knife in a bathroom. It was in that background of that picture that matched Karen Smith's bathroom. According to police reports, Karen Smith was a weather reporter from Illinois whose body was found with her fingernails removed and missing her eyes. No one would ever know who recorded these tapes. This was the only other frame that ever surfaced, and it's deeply unsettling.
Y'all, AI is getting so creepy. This TikTok user was doing the AI trend where it expands your pictures, so she done it with a picture of her pets. And this is what the AI created, along with this woman sitting on her couch. She thought it was kind of funny that it added a random person on her couch until she looked closer at the person that it added. And she realized it looked eerily similar to her mother, who was deceased. What she found really weird about this is she was just talking about her mom right before she done this with the AI filter. And when you compare all the photos side by side, it looks a lot like her mom. So this has made a lot of people wonder, can AI see things that we can't? And honestly, it's kind of heartwarming because after a family member passes away, people tell you that they're alive as long as you keep them alive. So was talking about her mom manifesting her in her living room? What do you guys think about this? Let me know.
Wendy's is literally paying people $100 grand just to now eat their food. It's this new position called Chief Tasting Officer where you literally just eat the food and make videos about it. That's the entire job, and you make 6 figures a year from it. That's double the average national salary, and all you do is just eat some burgers, which I already do for free, by the way. Where's my 100K? And the fact that it's Wendy's, a top 5 fast food place ever, makes this 1,000,000,000 times better. I mean, I do the exact same thing for even a crappy fast food joint like Burger King. It's probably going to be hard to actually get hired though, because I'm sure tons of people want this job, so there's going to be a lot of applications to go through.
Britney Spears just got arrested for a DUI, but she was also mentioned in the Epstein files over 100 times. And she's been a victim of neurological experiments and who knows what else. Some people are saying that they're setting her up right now because she was going to expose the dark truths of Hollywood and what happened to her. What do you think?
Does anyone else remember the dad who unalived his children in the most horrific way because he was convinced that they were reptilian? This happened just after the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, where conspiracy theories were running rampant and rumors of reptile-like creatures disguising themselves as humans started flooding the internet. By all accounts, Matthew Taylor Coleman was a loving and devoted father, and his wife Abby would later tell law enforcement that there was apparently no indication that he would ever harm their children. So how did he become this monster? Well, at some point during the pandemic, Matthew and his wife Abby, along with many others around the world, began to drift towards some very interesting theories. Abby began following anti-vax Facebook groups, and Matthew began posting on social media in the cryptic language of QAnon. Matthew's friends noticed that these conspiracy theories were taking over his life, and that he would make it a point to share his new beliefs with anyone who would listen. Despite his growing obsession with these theories, no one could have imagined what would come next. On August 7th, 2021, Matthew and Abby Coleman had planned to take their 2 children on a camping trip. Instead, Matthew left with the kids alone and gave his wife no indication of where they were going. Abby reported this to local police but insisted that she wasn't concerned about her husband hurting their children. But when police found that Matthew's last known whereabouts were in Mexico, red flags started flying. Local police called the FBI to assist with the now potential parental kidnapping case, but Matthew would cross back over the border without needing extradition. The FBI was there to meet him, and what they found was horrifying. Matthew was alone, and his registration papers had blood on them. After getting in touch with Mexican authorities, it was confirmed that a local rancher had just found Matthew's 2 children deceased in a ditch. Both of them had been shot multiple times in the chest by a fishing spear gun and left to die. One of his children was 2 years old, and the other was only 10 months. Matthew claimed that he had no choice but to unalive his children because they had, quote, serpent DNA and it they were destined to grow into monsters. While being held in prison, a notion to forcefully medicate Matthew was filed, citing that he posed a risk to himself and to others. It was reported that while in custody, he cut himself with a razor, dove headfirst into a toilet, punched himself in the face, and slammed his head into the floor. Their hope in medicating him is that it'll make him competent enough to stand trial, but his condition or the status of his trial hasn't been updated since last year.
Quick pause. Before we get into the other half of the video, I need to tell you now that it's about to get darker really fast. So buckle up, leave a like, comment, and subscribe.
What the hell do you mean NASA just found giant spider webs on Mars? And for those of you guys who don't know what I'm talking about, just search up spider webs on Mars and come back to this video. These things are miles long, and we are all cooked because not only are these spider webs miles long, but they have eggs on them. And people on Kalshi are putting bread that the US is gonna admit aliens are real before 2027. Like, gang, are we cooked? Like, we got giant spiders ready to crack us, the Epstein files, and World War III in the first 4 months of 2026. Send us to a friend to tell them we are so cooked.
You should pee in the shower. If you pee in the shower, that's one less flush. And if you have a family of 4, that's going to save you about 5,000 gallons of water. And not in a lifetime. That's saving 5,000 gallons of water in 1 year. Also, pee, for the most part, is sterile. So if you have like a fungal infection like athlete's foot, that's gonna help sterilize it because technically there's urea in your pee, and urea is used in some face creams. And skin cream. And guess how many trees are used to cut down just for toilet paper? It's 10 million trees a year. So if you pee in the shower, you're helping not cut down as many trees. So if you want to save money and water, help your athlete's foot if you're an athlete and have athlete's foot. And if you want to save the trees, just pee in the shower.
Women online are buying these fake dolls that literally come in like an embryo sac.
And it looks like real babies.
It literally looks like it, bro. Mike, I will show you. I'll put them on the screen. These babies look exactly like real babies, and they literally are in a clear sack, like in a woman's stomach, and you rip it open, and real liquid comes out of it.
Ugh.
Mind you, this thing I heard ranges from, they said about $45, I guess it's like a really small one, to $8,000.
Like a real human-sized one.
Dude, this thing looks real.
These are fake?
You know where I'm going with this.
I know what you're going to say.
And you're thinking, that this company would be for women that maybe lost their babies.
That's what I was about to say right now. That's what I heard some of these dolls are for.
Bro, people are saying they're not.
But not everyone that's buying these, I'm assuming, are...
Yes, using them for the right reasons, Mike. Because let's be honest, bro.
What the fuck,
bro,
dude?
You see what I'm saying, bro? Yes, Mike.
Yo!
Yes, Mike.
This is fucking strange.
Bro, and Mike. And then watch this. You'll see one of these girls, any of their videos, the day in the life, they'll go to the baby, Mike, at the edge of like a crib. And like it just woke up in the morning. The girl goes, oh, look at my big baby. Good morning. She has like all of this stuff. She buys clothes for it.
Let's say that woman you're talking about lost her baby.
Yeah.
And she bought this fake baby. The fucking doll has its own room. That can't be healthy for her.
No, that's psychosis. So what does this tell you, bro? It's very weird.
But I get what you're going to say.
I'm saying
who else is buying this?
What makes us all think that any of these people would really just be looking out for these women? It ties all together. Did you not just say those dolls look realistic? This nigga couldn't even tell some of them.
Yeah.
Why would they not be able to make a realistic doll of Jeffrey Epstein?
There we go. If these fucking random ass companies.
Come on, Mike.
Those babies look real as fuck.
I need to know what people genuinely would buy fake babies for. That is super realistic and super scary. I don't think there is a reason why anyone should need one, own one. Maybe doctors, hospitals to practice on babies, procedures and stuff like that. But why is it available to the public?
They locked their mentally disabled daughter in a feces-covered cage. Melanie Granados was a 13-year-old girl with severe developmental disabilities that caused her to have the mental capacity of a 3-year-old child. Melanie's mom, Hami Hodges, and Melanie's grandmother, Virginia Lujan, locked Melanie in a makeshift cage for extended periods of time to control her. The cage was made from a bunk bed frame, baby gates, and zip ties. The cage was completely filled with human feces. Melanie's mother admitted that she stopped checking on her daughter because it was just easier not to. Melanie's grandmother, Virginia, called 911 because Melanie had stopped breathing. Virginia said that Melanie had fallen down the stairs 2 days ago, and they never called for medical help because they just assumed Melanie would be fine. Melanie was in fact not fine, and she passed away. Although it is listed that Melanie passed away from a head injury, The medical examiner ruled it a homicide with evidence of extreme physical abuse and severe medical neglect. There were so many times that child services went to Melanie's house and reported the disgusting living conditions. They also reported that Melanie had not been to school, the doctor, or the dentist in 2 years. Child services reported it, but they didn't do anything about it. They just wrote it down. Virginia passed away due to natural causes while awaiting her trial. Hami has not been sentenced yet, and her trial has not concluded. Sick to my stomach doesn't even describe how I'm feeling right now. Child services was at that house. Melanie could have been saved before any of this happened, but nothing was done. What do you guys think about this case?
If you still think Dubai is this beautiful top vacation spot, this luxurious, rich, amazing city that everyone wants to go to, let's wake up. The city that heavily depends on America, the city that sells little girls, sexually exploits them, what else? Has a bunch of slaves that maintain the city's beautiful image? Yeah. What you're seeing, that's slaves. They're maintaining that for you. And just like many other places, cities, countries around the world, yes, there's a lot of human trafficking that happens there. Yes, they sell people there, not just girls, little girls, women, men too. It's surprising how not many people know about Dubai. Hello.
Okay, this one is going to blow your mind. In Greece, these beekeepers started noticing something that they could not explain. Whenever they placed Christian icons inside of a hive, the bees would actually build honeycomb everywhere except over the icon's picture, leaving these images completely uncovered like they were protecting it. Let's think about this for a second, because bees don't care about art, religion, or symbols. They only respond to energy, frequency, vibration, and nature's law. Why would thousands of bees build with mathematical precision yet leave these sacred images completely untouched? Now, some say that this is a coincidence. Some say that this could be a miracle. But I believe that the bees can sense the spiritual energy in charge behind these holy pictures. And perhaps instinctively, they honor that. But bees are quite literally the guardians of life on Earth. Without bees, 90% of the things that you consume and you see in nature wouldn't exist. Clearly, they're able to recognize this divine energy. This is a testament to all the frequencies that we are surrounded by. It shows us what's really happening behind the veil, what we can't see with our own naked eyes. Maybe our ancient ancestors were right. Maybe nature itself is far more conscious than we think. And maybe, just maybe, the signs have been here all along. All those with the eyes that have been able to see have known this for a very long time. Everything is interconnected, like a giant spider's web. We are all different branches of the exact same tree, all different extensions of the exact same source. The kingdom of heaven is within us all. Let's all do our part to protect the bees, because we really need them in our lives. Peace and love.
Sometimes people think if you rent a cabin through an app, it's safe because it's reviewed. That's the mistake. 5 stars don't mean empty. If you stay into a secluded Airbnb near the Appalachian Mountains and the host tells you it's completely private, don't assume that means you're alone. Rule 1. When you arrive, check the mirrors before you unpack. Now for cameras, for alignment. If one mirror is aligned slightly toward the hallway instead of the bed, someone adjusted it for visibility. Most guests don't assume that. They're focused on the view outside. You settle in, night falls fast in the mountains. The wood swallows sound. Around midnight, you hear something settle, a faint click, like a door closing softly. You assume it's the wood settling. Rule 2. If you hear interior movement in a rental property and you're certain you locked every door, don't announce yourself. Don't shout hello. Sound confirms location. Instead, stay still. Listen for pacing, not for footsteps. Weight shifts. If you walk into the kitchen, the back door is still locked, window secure, but the bathroom light is on, you turn it off. Rule 3. If something inside your rental changes without force, don't search room to room. Leave immediately. One couple outside Asheville ignored that rule. They searched closets, under the bed. No one was there. They slept anyway. In the morning, they found a second key on the kitchen counter, not theirs. The host later told them there was only ever one issued. If you stay somewhere that advertises privacy in the mountains, don't confuse quiet with secure. Sometimes you're not sharing space. You're being shared.
Let's just do a celebrity recap because it's hard for me to stay away. Britney Spears was arrested last night. It was 9 p.m. in California, and she went to the hospital for a DUI. Her Instagram is also completely wiped. Bad Baby and Levon are back together. No one wants her with this man, but they were shopping at Kim Kardashian's store Skims in LA and seen leaving together. Tom Holland and Zendaya did get married. Her hairstylist dropped the tea. We all missed the wedding, and I love that for them. And the Wendy's CEO just obliterated McDonald's and Burger King. It's in my other video that I just posted.
Oxford researchers just confirmed what we feared. The internet, as we know it, is dying. Now that is the opening line of a post referencing this chart. It shows that for the first time ever, AI-generated news articles have now outnumbered those written by real humans. Only 5 years ago, this was near 100% human, 0% AI. But in 2022, when ChatGPT launched, everything changed. Now, as someone in the news space, this was pretty shocking, especially since the post then goes on to say that projections say 90% plus will be AI by next year. And to make it worse, quote, the real crisis is model collapse. When AI trains on AI-generated content, quality degrades like photocopying a photocopy, rare ideas disappear, everything converges into generic sameness. Sounds like some freaking dead internet theory type shit. So naturally, do some research and turns out this wasn't from Oxford. Rather, an SEO company carrying out a study using AI to detect if an article was written by AI. Their own methodology says that many argue detecting AI is impossible or at best highly inaccurate. So that throws into question if this graph is even correct. But let's just say for a second it is. What the article also didn't include is the number of views each article had, because the total number of AI written articles is meaningless if no one is reading them. But what about the crisis of model collapse we were warned of if AI is trained on AI? Well, I went back to the original post and lo and behold, I found a human AI expert who was worked at Meta, Uber, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft. And he said, quote, model collapse is widely considered not a real problem. He then lists the reasons why and provided research to back up his claim. Bro, and at this point, I am baffled. Everything this post told me was sus. But then, there's the kicker. I looked for who wrote it, and it wasn't a who. It's an it. Perplexity AI. Bro, how the hell is AI gonna fearmonger humans about AI? God damn. Here's the thing. Just when I was about to wage war against the machines, I remembered. When you get hit by a car, you don't blame the car, you blame the driver. AI is not killing the future.
The US has just sent the final warning to Iran. Today, the UAE foreign minister is carrying a letter from the United States of America to the capital of Iran, Tehran, where he will be meeting with the supreme leader of Iran, conveying this final message from the United States, as all relations besides that have been cut off. If we take earlier reports that the US will be giving Iran a time frame, we can say that they're probably going to give them 7 days from today, or they're going to attack them next week if they do not dismantle their entire ballistic missile program, fully unenrich uranium, and give up aiding the proxies in the region. These are demands that are on purpose overwhelming, that are not acceptable, just so the US can say, look, we tried, they didn't accept anything. Comment your thoughts, follow me for the real news.
Okay, so I know the official reason why they camouflage cell towers as trees, cactuses. They put them on the top of churches. They'll put them in front of community centers. They'll hide them in these things that they actually have, billboards on. Even bricks. You think those are bricks? They're not bricks. I know the official story why they do it, but it can't help make me wonder if there's something else going on as well.
There may be nothing more worse than this new viral trend that's going on social media, but people are breaking into other people's backyards that have hot tubs and filling the hot tubs with instant mashed potatoes, and it's turning the hot tubs into mashed potatoes, and it's completely ruining people's hot tubs. They're saying they're doing it because they want to eat the rich, and the economy is so bad, and they...
So panthers actually don't exist, at least black panthers. They're not a real species. And if you think I'm psycho because you've seen a black panther before, maybe at the zoo, the name panther comes from the genus name Panthera, which is a compromised species of lion, leopards, tigers, and jaguars. There can also be melanistic jaguars, so basically just how humans have melanin in their skin, panthers do too. From afar, they look black, but if you look really closely, they have an increased pigment in their skin, but with light, you can see the spots. So they're really just one of these animals, probably not a lion as much or a tiger, but they're really like a leopard or a jaguar. They're just darker. So we call them a panther, a black panther. So all in all, the black panther is really just a genus name for Panthera, which is the compromised species of these.
Do you think this is super irresponsible? So these kids in the Japan part of the Asia are trying to trigger an avalanche. Japan does not have avalanches because of the angles of their mountains, and the sun rays don't set it up for it. But in the US, we get them all the time. Well, they said that's unfair and they want to experience their first one. And so here they are in their levels trying to trigger one. And I think this is super dangerous and it's not fun. And I think that they should stop. But maybe I'm being too sensitive.
Okay, hold on a second. Do you know what it says on the tombstone of Wernher von Braun, one of the top scientists at NASA? So this is a guy who spent his entire life developing rockets. He came from Germany. He was working on apparently the V2 rocket over there. He even made the cover of Time magazine and was around for multiple missions to space. So what does it say on his tombstone? Psalms 19:1. Are you familiar with this verse? The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. The firmament. The firmament. The firmament. Not a verse about planets and space, because there is none.